Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to tmosso@thewatchbox.com. This is one of those watches that's generally not listed on our website, a special piece for a special kind of collector. It is the titanium 44mm FP Journe Linesport Octa Sport with bright yellow lacquered dial. So 44 millimeters in diameter. This is the new age of Journe sports watches, but they remain thin in profile at only 10.9 millimeters thick. The watch measures from lug to lug, or I'm going to say from end to end, a sizable but wearable 51.8 millimeters. And because it is flat and flush and all grayscale dial aside, this is a watch that a guy with the right kind of panache could wear as a dress piece. It fits easily underneath the cuff because it's flat and flush. It is broad across the wrist, but you can see from overhead, a lot of that is just the bracelet arcing out. It's not actually the ends of the lugs, so it's not overlapping the edge of my wrist. And even though it's a large watch, I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 14 to 14.5 centimeters circumference. It is very light. The movement is aluminum, the case is titanium, and so is the bracelet. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, you can see we're now into the latest generation of FP Journe bracelets. Collectors cried out for a bracelet without the long-running rubber bumpers, and FP Journe has answered. Slash cut with a V-splayed arrangement of the individual links. You can see they're arrayed in satin finish so that they slide inward. So you can see how there is a sort of V profile to the outer links and then straight centers. The cross section of the flanks relatively short, so it feels silky, almost like a dress watch bracelet. And you can see that there's plenty of venting. There's absolutely no tendency to trap wrist heat, sweat, grit, pinch skin, or pull hair. Removable links, as they should be on a luxury watch, are fixed by screws. And then the clasp features internally ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps, so the tolerances and the sharp snap of the clasp will always remain. There is a ceramic insert outboard to prevent scratching of the underside of the clasp, and then we roll over the case and we can see ceramic also has been used for the bezel insert. The case, as ever, is satin finished. It's sort of a media blasted aesthetic, whereas in the past the Linesport cases featured vertical satination on the case band. Here you can see the whole thing is matte and blasted. The rubber bumper on the side replaced by a lovely polished highlight in titanium. You can see the same has been rendered on the crown side, and the crown is off-center to make this a viable left and right option. The timepiece includes a sporty dial that is of bright yellow lacquer, and I do mean bright. The watch doesn't feature hacking seconds, but that's pretty much the only refinement it lacks, as there is a quick set for the date. The date wheels are fantastically flush, red on silver printed. There's an AM/PM indicator over at 9 o'clock, so you can see as we take that long day's journey into night, that sub-register or indicator turns from silver to red. We have a power reserve indicator, and the power reserve indicator traces the 160-hour power reserve of the watch. Journe advertises best timekeeping for the first 120 hours, but if you let it go from full to empty, it will run for almost 7 days, 160 hours. Polished seconds hand, we have a smoked sapphire for the small seconds, and then there's a small bezel framing that sapphire held in place by polished dial side bolts, because on an FP Journe watch, you expect those polished dial side bolts. The dial is bright yellow lacquer with a railroad track printed outboard for reading the minutes in black on yellow with luminescent individual indices. And then you can see, if we get close, that the numerals themselves are three-dimensional blocks of luminova. So it has a very distinctive and bright nighttime aspect. There is a quick set for the date, because I know you're wondering, so you can rapidly set that panorama date. And then on the case back, we have the latest version of the caliber 1300-3. Some changes from the past. It's no longer a bidirectional winder, and it hasn't been since 2007. It's a unidirectional winder with ceramic rotor bearings for efficiency. The whole movement is made of aluminum, which means that the finishing, the beveling, the Côte de Genève, the engine turning, that's all remarkably difficult to achieve, as aluminum is tough to work. You can also see that it has a lovely nickel anthracite coating, so it has a grayscale aesthetic that matches the case well. And the 1300 Linesport movement has a different, again, more machine ethic shape and style to its rotor. Now, it is, of course, automatic. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it's adjusted in a high horology and chronometer standard, which is 5 positions. The free sprung balance also makes it more shock tolerant, and though it's not a high beat movement, it makes up for that by using a high mass balance with most of the mass outboard in the rim, so it can shake off concussion or shock-induced timing deviation. All of this is 30 meters water resistant, and the loom shot is coming up. Once again, this is not a watch listed on our website, so if you like it, reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing. And we're back with the Linesport Octasport. You can see those 3-dimensional blocks of loom on the reflective gloss base of the dial.